Welcome. Welcome home, rock starseeds. My name is Melissa. I will be your multidimensional cosmic tour guide today. And I want to thank you for those likes, shares, and subscribes. And if you would like an appointment, a reading, twin flame reading, channeling, energy, spiritual engineering, energy healing with shamanic practices, you want to, vortex tour, virtual vortex tours, anything like that, just click on the box below. My webpage can lead you to the answers and the schedule. So thank you all so much. We are going to do a little bit of a shamanic energy storytelling today, reading. So we're going to do a reading about the collective from the animals and from perspective of what's really going on. And I have to start this with, in this last week, as we are shifting and going through gateways, all of us personally and collectively, I had the most amazing experiences of some of the things I just had never seen in my life occur with like in a week and a half, 2-week span. And so it didn't start on the buck full moon, but it is a continuance there. And that was the main day. So I'll start with the story. And we were out on a UFO tour. So we had my car was leading and the trucks behind us. And we went way, 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 way outside of Sedona, Arizona with our night vision. And we were on the back roads, as we can call them, behind Boynton Canyon, and super groovy, supernatural energies out there. So sometimes some of the people want to choose that because it's sort of extraterrestrial and sacred ancestors, all kinds of stuff going on out there in that canyon. It's really cool at night. And there's some definite extraterrestrial movement out there as well, unidentified things. So we were out in a line, going out, and we didn't stay out that long there, but it was just stunning. And there were just, the clouds were going over the moon, and it was just strange. And we had a couple of sightings of UFOs, and we just had some really good discussion about how to choose to create your consciousness. And I just thought it was brilliant. So we were all really tired. We'd been on a UFO tour, the same grouping the night before. So we were tired. So we came home about 11:30 and didn't stay out that late, and had a beautiful blast of a day. So as I came home, I was by myself, and I usually get a glass of water and I sit on my porch and I kind of say prayers or yell at the universe or whatever I do. And I looked up, and there was, sometimes it's visual, sometimes you need night vision. There was a UFO going along, and then it went, and that's a distinct clue that it's nothing that we quite know about. It definitely can't be a plane, which usually has flashing lights, and can't be a satellite because the satellite goes along and then change pace. So this was something I was just seeing. I'm like, hey guys. And all of a sudden I had my glass of water. I always drink a glass of water before bed. And I was super tired. And all of a sudden I hear, hoo, 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 hoo. And there was an owl. I could not see the owl, but it was really close. And then I hear little chatter dee, 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 from another owl. And they were bantering and talking. And I thought, what? They felt like they were so close that I could almost reach out and touch them. I just couldn't see them. So one was on my right, one was on my left, and I could feel that. And here's what I heard from the owls that night. So there's a spirit message from the owls, and they were saying, this is the biggest time ever. Just watch. Everything is changing right now. And I could feel that gateway open and shifting and timeline shifting, which happens sometimes, but not to this extent. This was profound. They were bantering back and forth, talking back and forth. And they were saying that the collective will be able to wake up. It's almost like a key given to humanity to align. And the skies and the earth are stretching in their own earth map, as I like to say, into alignment. And each human being will have different perspectives and awareness coming up and awakening. And you're much safer than you ever knew. And I thought, what? Okay. And they're saying, remember, like telepathies and things like that is very strong right now. So if you wish to connect with your true love, divine counterpart, you can ask for telepathy when it's the right time. Clean, clear telepathy lines and soul families and soul tribes. And they're saying that we can all hear you. So they were describing that the owl collective, the owls, who are peculiar to look at, are kind of extraterrestrial, and they came here to help us remember our wisdom. So some people say, as a sign that if you see or hear an owl, sometimes that could tell of death. This one was not that. So that's a little bit different. And this one was that this guidance from the owl collective has been working with, in particular, the starseeds and the divine magicians and the empaths to help them get back on track and remember their confidence and remember that they're regal royal beings here on earth, and your new missions and purposes and connections are going to come right back in to play. It's almost like you'll have your new papers quickly. So rest, take a deep breath, and know that everything is new. This is the big rebirth, right? So I was just in awe. And they were also saying some other things about how the dark energies were being undone, unwound, and cleansed out of our energy forms. So that's always just been one of my main purposes and works and missions, is helping others find the answers and heart healing past some of the wounds and traumas and cleanse away some of that dark energy. And also soul retrieval pieces of us fragmented. So they were saying this is hands down going to be so much more fun, happy, joyous celebrations, humanity, each one of us. Instead of being hurting all the time and exhausted, we'll start seeing this. It's almost like we're coming to the upside, the upswing of things, and the energy healing and correction has been cracked open so much and stretched and pulled back together in the divine order that human beings, each one of us, are going to see, hear, feel, know to deeper extents. So if you have been working on your spiritual gifts and talents and abilities, learning your knowledges, your divine magic, mystical parts, wisdom, esoteric, alchemy, those things are going to be triple, quadruple amped up now. Not that they haven't been, but remember, if you're distorted and using distortion in any of that, it'll kind of kick your asses. So step forward, cleansing and clearing, coming into purification, and then realize, oh my gosh, I am who I am supposed to be. I am who I am. I am that I am. Your connection with God, the Alpha, the Omega. So the owls were saying this, and they're saying they were ancient beings that came here to help. It's almost like corral humanity back into order of humanity's divine order. So it was big. Then they, again, were telling me a couple personal messages, and I was like, what? And also telling about the cleansing and clearing continuance of the cycles and processes of the past being released out of us. And then they took off, and it was just hoo, and then and they took off in such a fury. It was so amazing. And I thought, oh my God, it was like, that was part of the reset button. That was part of the energies. And I know many people are feeling these things, or experiencing their open door to the next layer stage of rebirth, the next phase, in different ways. But that's how mine came. And they said, you should tell others, and make sure you know that that's your truth, your sacredness is coming back into play, and your alchemy you can bring back and to wholeness, whatever it is you want these days. Accept other people, stay in your own lane. So this was so cool. And I did a reading the next day or two, and I usually just say a prayer and ground and balance and meditate for a minute before I get on a Zoom phone call, which is what this was, with a beautiful young man. I really liked him. And I said, I was just outside, and I was, saying prayers So getting aligned so I can give you 100%, reading. And I said, I had an experience that it was just profound for me. And I believe I'm supposed to, like, it's for you too. So I told him about the owls and, many of us could have the totem owl, shamanic totem, be an owl. And how the owls were the messenger this week. And he said, later he said, I love birds. And he said, my last name is Bird. And he says, I always get messages from the birds. And he says, this awakening and ascension is amazing. And he's kind of into learning whatever it is that each of us are learning and growing in our paths and our true sacred truths. And he was saying his alchemy and his knowing, his intuitions, his truth, his connection in that purified source energy is what he's been working on. And he had been through a really, really horrifyingly hard time. And I know many of you have as well. So please know if you've had painful things, suffering, illnesses, disease, distractions, divorces, pain, suffering, disconnection, friends, family, loved ones, just dying, anything that causes great big suffering, just know that that is shocking to our system. However, you are absolutely 100% being loved and held by the hand of God, by the purified light, and everything's going to be okay. So I had that experience, and I'm supposed to share with you the shamanic totem owl meaning. Okay, I put us on pause for a moment so I could look it up, and I had not looked it up yet. So that was like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. And I had not looked it up, and it says the owl symbolism, the totem symbolism and meanings include wisdom, intuition, supernatural power, independent thinking, and observant listening, knowing. What else we got here? So I'm delighted to say this. I don't know what kind of owl it was. I started looking up stuff like how do they sound? And it feels like one was a great horned owl. I don't know if they were both. I don't know. But it's bringing in, it's almost like foretelling swift action, which is what happened all last week. And it was just unbelievable for me. And this owl energy is saying, if you would like to call upon this owl energy, supernatural, super groovy, kind of extraterrestrial, wisdom, knowledge, truth, not the scary one of, like it's like anyone's going to die, but this owl energy, wisdom, intuitive knowledge, deep connection, understanding, intuition, that supernatural intuition. I'm also getting right now that God goddess energy for you divine magicians who kind of like those old school God goddess energies, which would be pieces of higher self, not God one, but pieces of higher self and our collective. And they're saying that we can bring you answers, magic, the truth that is just right for you in those things. So magic not being like Harry Potter spells against your neighbor or the candles that you burn to steal someone's husband or the whatever the old people are doing. And it's certainly not binding another human being because that's a bad choice. And good luck because that's going to just kick your tiny behindy. And it's just bad choice, bad idea. And I always say, if you are supernatural, extraterrestrial, divine magician, or magic-y, warlock, wizardy, witchy kind of vibe that you like that stuff, I love that for everyone. But the irresponsible dark ones also use those terms. So you kind of have to go, and the really distorted people. And I've seen people like do bindings on others and sex magics and death magics and curses and all kinds of stuff. And I've got to say that I've been in awe over all these years because I've never, not once, been willing to act like that or behave in ways like that. Not even close, not one bit. But I have seen so many people utilize this, like, well, I get to because I don't like them and they are not doing what I say. And I've seen so many people do magic spells and they want what this other person has and they, targeting them And these are like sometimes light workers or very beautiful people. And I'm like, okay, but that's a bad choice. I wouldn't do that. And I have always, in all of my work, always asked for that Christed energy. If I am doing something that is manipulating energy, doing something that's could even be perceived as magic spells, or something that could stick or harm somebody or go against anyone, even dark people, even bad dark people, I asked that purified Christed energy to stop me, filter it, and correct it before it goes out. Like this has been 30 years, but I watch other people, like 1,000 people have asked me over the 30 plus years of doing readings and stuff like that, have asked me, like, can you do some magic for me? I'm like, no, but I'll show you how to use purified love as magic. And they just don't want to do it usually. And I'm like, you're okay. Someday you'll catch on. You're getting ready to catch on. And no energy manipulation or movement is allowed. So I was often protected from that. I'll tell you my life story one of these days, being around that kind of stuff all my life and cult magics and stuff like that from where I came from. And not in my family line, but in others around me, and had a lot of experience in people conjuring demons and doing terrible, horrifying things, crazy, stupid, bad, dumb, stupid. And, trying to, like, especially in these last years since Mom passed, they were trying to harvest my soul and others' souls for particular purposes, like fame and fortune was one, and destiny, someone else's destiny, someone else's twin flame, someone else's cash. And they harvest these energies out of you, take pieces out using spell work, root work, death magics, just crazy energetic stuff. And so I'm like, that's a bad choice. So I wouldn't participate, even if it was at my detriment. But for a very long time, I've watched that slingshot back. And so even if you are like binding someone that you didn't like very much, and you just thought like, oh, they're not very smart, so I can do whatever I want to them, that's going to be reversed and come back. And the owls kind of showed some of that energy, because the owls are, wise and weird and freaky and supernatural all in themselves. And they foretold of that being unwound in layers and layers and layers more than ever. So what you have conjured or done to another is going to come to collect from you. And it was kind of intimidating to hear this, because I always just try to push out of it and help people cleanse and clear from energetic, horrifying stuff or attachments or things all these years. And I myself have had to work on it myself. Traumas, all human beings have had the traumas and attachments and distortion. And to be responsible is a must right now. And that is when the owls also said, many of you are having your crowns adjusted. And that means crown chakra, but it also means your halo. And it's pure, like you're responsible enough. Your royal bloodline, etheric bloodlines are responsible enough now. And all the things that were infesting or invading or imprinted in you has been released enough for you to be responsible in your alchemy or your divine magic, which could also be called Christ balance, sacred union. Christ and Magdalene were the original, to us at least, mystery schools of that aspect of the world. So that Christed energy is coming back. Our crowns and our halos are being adjusted, and you're stepping forward in your magic, which is not quite the word I really want to use, but your divinity is also what I want to say. And you're responsibly ready to come from the heart. Don't get in anyone's way. Don't try to psychic somebody or think you know anything about someone's karma, because you do not. And that will get you some stupid karma. And if you want to help somebody, don't invade or act like you're above or know anything better or harm or use another human being. And I just wouldn't suggest binding people ever, because it's getting ready to slingshot and kick some booty noodle ass. Yeah. So all of that also is part of spread your wings and know your strength And that's also what we will be learning about our own selves and our remembrance and recognition of our own self. And this is beautiful, exciting. It was so exciting. And that night I also saw, as we were finishing up from the UFO tour, I pulled out first. I was leading everybody home back into where the lights are in town. And they were following me in the trucks and stuff like that. And first thing right to the side, so close, we didn't even know, were deer. So it was the buck full moon. And I was just getting energy, like super downloads from that anyway. And I had to stop. Everybody was behind me like, oh my God, what is she doing? Stopping on a pitch black dirt road out here. What? Is she okay? And I just had to smooch out the window at the deer, who were very close, like 12 feet, maybe 15 feet, very close. And I was like, hey guys, I got to talk to them a little bit. So they're bringing that beautiful Christed energy in as well. Renewal. I felt all of that. That's part of this message for us in these days and weeks to come. And you can look up, deer for animal meanings, animal shamanic totem meanings, spiritual meanings. And we happened to see a cat that night as well. So you can look up anything that you are seeing. And if you feel drawn to the owl energy, the owls will speak to you. Maybe not real close and in person. Maybe they will. But that collective will talk to you and bring you that supernatural, pure divine light, answers, truth, guidance, direction that you seek, that you yearn for inside. And I hope you're having really cool, amazing signs all around you, with the earth and the skies just unfolding before you and your gateways opening. That is what this message foretells for all of us, for the collective, for you and me and us and them. And I'm just excited to share it. Super magical, mystical, super groovy. The owls in itself, amazing. So thank you all. If you want a reading and we can connect and ask who your main shamanic animal totems are and connect with your guides and guardian angels, just let me know, and information's in the box below. Have a great month, week, year. Many blessings and much love to you.